It is day 3 of FPL price reviews, and oh boy, we got some bangers. Late last night, after my video went out, a couple of teams revealed their prices, and FPL sent us an email with even more reviews. Today, the rest of the team finished up the revealing, and we got the 20 teams with price reviews already. If you enjoy the content, as always, subscribe to my channel because more content is coming your way during preseason. Like the video, write down a comment down below if you believe those prices are fair. If they're not, just share your thoughts. And now, let's see those reviews. Firstly, we're going to talk about Aston Villa. 4 more players got revealed by their team. Buendia, 6.0 midfielder, a pretty solid midfielder. He was sometimes deployed as a striker. We have to see how he is going to play this season, especially with European football. But this guy caught my eye because a 6.0 for such a talented guy who is already established in the Prem is a very, very good price. Then Martinez, 5.0. Sorry, but I'm not interested. I believe there will be better 5.0 keepers, and those for 4.5 will do the job the same as him, in my opinion. Yes, he's a good penalty stopper, but there are no penalty shootouts inside the Prem yet, so I don't see him racking up a lot of penalty saves. I hope at least, because their defense will improve and they won't concede as many penalties, and I'm just not interested in him because for the same price you get Alex Moreno. Ashley Young was released, so Alex Moreno is the favorite to be starting at left back because there is no one else that can be competing with him. For 5.0, he is a very, very good choice. He is compared to Estupinian. I like Estupinian fixtures better, at least for the start, but Alex Moreno will be a contender to come into the team at some point during the season, just like Luke Shaw was a contender last season for the same price. Alex Moreno and Estupinian will fight for that 5.0 place in my team. At last but not least is Ramsey, 6.0. He is having a breakthrough season last year and he's playing very well at the Euro under 21. So have in mind that he will be starting the preseason later than the others because he will have to have some break. Then will start. He won't be missing the start of the season in my opinion, but he won't be as prepared as the rest of the guys in the Prem. So just have that in mind. But for that price, he's competing with Buendia. If he's playing a little bit up front together with Watkins, he's a very, very good shout out to be included in our teams at some point. But for the beginning, those 4 guys are not very tempting to start with in your game week 1 teams. Next up, we have some players revealed to us through our emails delivered by the Fantasy Premier League. First, Bayer, sorry I'm butchering that name, but I don't know how to pronounce it yet. He's a 4.0 defender and he played in over 35 games last season in the championship. So he's a strong contender to start if Burnley don't sign anyone better. He's a rotation option in my opinion, but at some point of the season he may be an option like Aint Nouri was last season from Wolves. He was not at the start, but then he got into the team because other players got injured. So keep an eye on him. He is not as good as Bale because Bale is a starter, but this guy a very, very good option. Next is Cody Gakpo. He got his position changed. He's now a striker or a forward. He's 7.5, the same price as Nkunku, and I don't fancy him a lot because he's like in a Firmino role. He's cheaper, but he is not going to score a lot more goals. I believe even the 2 new midfielders, McAllister and Szoboszlai, will score more goals than him next season because he will be the link and the anchor that holds the team. And he may be even rotated with Jota, with Darwin, so a 7.5 seems wasted on him. And he's the same price as Darwin, and I like Darwin more because of his explosiveness and his tendencies to go into goal-scoring chances. Yes, he is missing them, but for me, Darwin is better. Pope, 5.5 as a goalkeeper. I believe this will be the highest price for a goalkeepers this season, but I'll be staying away from Pope because Botman is 1 million cheaper and I'm there for the clean sheets and maybe for a bonus. Yes, Pope can get a lot of save points and maybe a good option, but with so many premiums revealed from the start, I will not be investing as highly in the goalkeeper's position as this. So Pope is staying away, but a very solid goalkeeper, and it's good to see that they are not back to 6.0. At least we've not seen yet Alisson's price, but I believe it will be 5.5 as well. And last but not least is Ayo, 5.5 as a midfielder. If Zaha leaves, he will get even more chances into the team, but if Zaha leaves, their team won't be as appealing as they're with him. But you get some and then you lose some, but 5.5 is a pretty okay price for a player of the rank of Ayo. He's prem proven, he is scoring some goals, he may be playing up front at some games, so a very good shout out for a patch of the season for 5.5. And with Rod Hodgson staying already in the team, he enjoys playing under him, and he will be getting a lot of returns at some point, I believe, but for the start I'll be staying clear of him. Next up, we got more secret reviews. First, Neco Williams, 4.5 already. He's not nailed, he is competing with Aurier. I don't like him at that price. If he was staying at 4.0, he would be a good option, but now I'm staying away from him because he's not nailed, he's 4.5, and we have better defenders for 4.5 in my opinion. Even though he's playing in a wing-back formation, if he gets some good minutes, he will be a good option, but with Aurier in the team, I don't see him as a regular starter. Next up is the next forward striker of City, Jackson. He's a new transfer. He's a little bit cheaper than Nkunku, but I like Nkunku more because he has proven himself in several seasons in the Bundesliga. I know Bundesliga players, especially coming from Leipzig, are a very scary thing for Chelsea because Werner was from their team and he was not a good addition to the Prem, but I believe Nkunku is a French guy who will have a lot of opportunities. He is not their striker. He will be playing as a shadow striker. Under Pochettino, he can become the next Dele Alli position that he got several seasons ago in Tottenham, where he was destroying the Prem. And for 7.5, I prefer Nkunku more. If Jackson was 6.5, I would have considered him more because he's a starting 9 for a Chelsea side, but for 7.0 I will just invest a $500,000 more for Nkunku. Next up is the Sheffield United goalkeeper, he's 4.5. I'm not at all interested in him because they're rumored to be signing Begovic, who may be 4.0 starting goalkeeper, so have that in mind. And even though it's for Sheffield, a 4.0 you can never say never and never say no. Last year Ward got some good points, Johnston got some good points, so if we get a 4.0 keeper this season again, it will be very good for saving some money. And last but not least, the Campbell from Luton, 5.0. I'm not too interested in him. It's not the 4.5 player that I'm looking for to fill in my bench, so I'll be staying away at least for the start. If he emerges as a good option, I'll consider him for that low of a price, but for now I'm staying away from them. Next up we have Arsenal, and oh boy, we got some interesting prices here. I believe all of those guys can be at least $500,000 more expensive, but I'm happy that they're not. Saka, the biggest surprise here, he's 8.5. And I believe that he will be at least 9 million, and I was even considering buying him at 9.5. For 8.5, I don't see any contention of him. If Martinelli is 8.0 or 7.5, maybe Martinelli, but Martinelli is a rotation risk with Trossard. Trossard price maybe around the same with Martinelli. Odegaard is the same price as Saka. So Saka got the penalties, he's nailed, he's their star boy, he's improving more and more and more with each day. So next season I believe it can be his season to shine and even be the best Prem player there is for the upcoming season. So for 8.5 to start the game, I don't see anything against him. Jesus, 8.0 striker, the same as Watkins. It's a pretty interesting price, but for Nkunku having a little bit being cheaper and some guys being cheaper like Isaac, then Antonio, then Darwin, I don't see me going for Jesus. I like their midfielders better, and if I'm going to invest around 8 million, it will be for Odegaard as well, not for Jesus. Sorry Jesus, but I don't see him as a goal scorer, just like I don't see Gakpo, so I will be staying away from him at least for the time being. If they change their system and he becomes a very solid striker, I will be considering him for sure. Havertz 7.5. I think this is a banging price. He's now a midfielder, which is even better. He will be playing together with Odegaard as attacking players, attacking midfielders in my opinion, just behind Jesus. But if a counter-attack occurs, Odegaard will run backwards and Havertz will be there to receive the ball. He knows how to hold it, he knows how to provide it. He will be providing a lot of assists to their wingers and to Jesus in my opinion. So for 7.5, in my opinion, he will be a better pick than Odegaard because he's 1 million cheaper. And if I have a double up already from Arsenal in the upfront position, it will be Saka and Havertz. I like them a lot both together, and if Rice is confirmed for their team, which there are rumors that it already is, behind them with Zinchenko together, the two holding DMs, Saka, Havertz, Odegaard, Jesus, and Martinelli / Trossard will wreak havoc in the Prem, especially Saka and Havertz, in my opinion. They will be the best players for me to go, and if I have the budget, I will be going for the two of them together. And last but not least, Zinchenko, 5.0 for an Arsenal defender. I believe that he can be raised to the price of show, being 5.5, but 5.0 together with Moreno and Stupinian, it will be interesting to monitor him because he can play in midfield at all. If Tierney starts, they can be deploying Zinchenko and Rice together, and Odegaard / Havertz together with them up front. So Zinchenko can be a holding DM, he can be a wing back at some positions, and we have to see what tactics Arsenal are deploying during the season. And Zinchenko may become a very, very highly owned player at some point because for 5.0, he's cheaper than most of the, let's say, premium team defenders, and he will be a very, very good option. So all of those guys directly into my shortlist, and Saka for sure into my game week 1 team. Havertz, I like him better than Odegaard, as I already mentioned, and if I have the money, I will be going for him. Let's see how the preseason goes, but most probably I will be going for him as well. Next up, we got some more secret price reviews to say. We received them in the FPL app. First, Minks 4.5. I'm pretty surprised by that. I don't see him as a starter this season though, because Pau Torres is coming into the side, and maybe Diogo Carlos is going to be a starter. We have to see how it goes, but Minks improved significantly last season, and with European football, he will have a spot in the Aston Villa side for sure, but we are not sure if he is going to be nailed. We have to see during preseason how it's going, but that price 4.5 is pretty good, and that means that Pau Torres price maybe will the same as his, so 4.5 for a starting center back for Aston Villa will be a very, very good price because under Unai Emery, they improved a lot. Next up is Joao Pedro, 5.5 forward for Brighton. He's cheaper than Welbeck, but I don't know if he's going to be a starter, if he's going to be playing behind Welbeck / Ferguson, if he is going to be an attacking midfielder, rotated, because Brighton are rotating a lot, but that may cause a risk for mid to late March. We have to see, but his price is pretty interesting. If he gets starting minutes week in and week out for 5.5 striker for Brighton, will be a very, very good shout out, but I don't see him as a starter yet. Next up, Fabianski, 4.5 goalkeeper, pretty okay price. If West Ham improved defensively after Declan Rice leaves, which is not going to happen in my opinion, but we wait and see. Fabianski is a very good goalkeeper, and for that price, he can return a lot of points and have a great value. And last but not least, Reed 5.0. Last year he was 4.5. He was an okay midfielder then, but now for 5.0, I don't see going for him. I would prefer Pereira for a couple of 0.5 millions improvement, so yeah, and increase. So Reed is a no go for me. I'm disappointed he's not 4.5 because he could have been an option, but right now not anymore. The first price reviews for today were Brentford, and here I have some interesting news for you. First, Shade, he can be a very good option depending on his minutes, and for 5.5 he can be a very, very good option in my opinion, because Tony is out for half an year and there will be places up for grabs. We'll see if he can rotate with the Silva, what price the Silva is, but I believe the Silva will be around 5.0, 5.5 as well. So for Shade, 5.5 a very good price. Wissa, a forward, 6.0. He is a very, very good striker. He's the same price as Antonio, but he will be nailed because Ivan Toney is out, and he will be with a partnership with Mbuemo. You can go for a 6.5 midfielder Mbuemo, who's going to take up midfielder spot, or go for a forward for 6.0, which can be even better. So we have to see how Wissa is playing in preseason, but he is in a good contention to be in my game week 1 team. I will be waiting up the players Morris and him Wissa to be my third striker option for sure, because a nailed Brentford striker for 6.0 who is scoring semi-regularly is a very, very good option. Ben Mee 5.0 predicted price, but a no-go for me. 4.5 defenders, center backs are flying here and there, having a Brentford defender for 5.0. Sorry, but not for me. And Henry, if he's nailed 4.5, their defenders look pretty tasty, and you can rotate them pretty well with Newcastle boys, and you avoid several tough fixtures from the start. Yeah, rotating players may seem never to work, but you never know. You can be prepared with a rotating option, and Henry Botman looks like a very, very good opportunity to see some rotating players, especially if they play 5 at the back and he is a wing back. Next up, we have Wolves players, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I pretty much don't care about them because they don't have a pretty solid squad right now. They were traps. They don't have very good fixture-wise start of the season, and I don't see me picking any of them, but let's discuss them. Neto, I have PTSD of him because he's 5.5. He's the same price as last year. He was the guy that was supposed to evaluate our teams for a very low price, but he was a flop. 5.5, pretty much basic price. Huang, a price drop, 5.5. Now he's more interesting than last year for sure. But as I already mentioned, they don't have a full lineup right now. They lost a lot of their key players, and starting with the Wolves player seems pretty risky and not very good. So I will be staying away for them for now. But in defense, they've got several price drops, especially Dawson, 4.5 from 5.0. So this becomes interesting. We'll have to see if Ain't Nuri, Bueno, how they will be priced, because if they are 4.0, it will be interesting to see who is starting at left back, maybe get a player there because he's already pre-proven, but 4.5, as already mentioned, I have better defenders in my opinion to consider. Henry, Botman, Minks, Tarkovsky, Henry, Botman, Minks, and Tarkovsky are all 4.5. Even Gay is 4.5. So going for a Wolves defender instead of them, no, not for me. Sorry, Wolves players, but for now I'll be staying away from you. Next up, we have Spurs players, and oh boy, did they make things interesting. The most important player for me here is not here, it's Madison, but we have 4 players that we should discuss for sure. Kulusevski, 7.0, a very good option for a midfielder. He may be starting as a right winger, maybe Pedro Porro is there. We have to see how it's going, but for 7.0, he's a very, very good option for sure. Richarlison, he is classified as mid because he played as a right wing basically, and I got it right in my position change predictions that he is going to move to midfielders. 7.0, if Harry Kane leaves and he becomes their main striker, this will be a gem for sure. 7.0 for a starting Spurs striker, even though it's Richarlison who missed a lot of opportunities last year and he got more yellow cards than goals. 7.0 will be a very, very good out of position player, and you'll be able to find a place in your team for sure for him. Perisic, 5.0 defender from Spurs, who is basically a left winger, and if he's nailed ahead of Ben Davies, we have to see what formation they're playing first of all, but if he's developed as a left back slash left winger, it will be a very, very good price. So yeah, the pricing for those 3 guys is terrifically good. And Harry Kane is 12.5. I'm a little bit surprised by that because he finished only 9 points behind Haaland and he's 1.5 million cheaper. So is Harry Kane option instead of Haaland? We have to see if first he stays, then what new tactics they are going to develop, and third, how we'll be able to fit him in. But for 1.5 cheaper than Haaland, you get only around 10 or 9 points even less, which is okay. I mean, the same player nailed penalties just 9 points short because he scored like 6 or 5 goals less. That's a no-brainer for me. Harry Kane is a very good striker, and under a new management in Spurs, if they are playing attacking football, he can get a lot of returns. And for sure, this pricing is very, very interesting for me. Straight into the shortlist, the 4 of them. Finally, a player that can add into my shortlist without any consideration, because I mean, Harry Kane is pretty good. You can go Kane, Salah, and Trent, and this will be perfectly fine, and you'll be able to find a lot of millions to save, but going without Haaland is going to be risky. Maybe double up on Kane and Haaland because they were that good last season. But first, let's see how the summer break will take place, what transfers will take place. Will Harry Kane leave? Will he stay? Will he confirm he's staying? We have to see, but 12.5 if he's staying is a bargain in my opinion. And the last team that got their price revealed is the reigning champion Manchester City. That wraps up the 20 teams reviews. If there are any further reviews, we'll see them later when the FPL game launches, because I believe that this is going to be the end. Today we may even get the FPL launch, so stay tuned for a first team selection video if that happens. If it's tomorrow or the day after, expect the video then. Now let's discuss the Manchester City boys. De Bruyne, 10.5, he has a price drop, but this is a pretty interesting price, 10.5, because he's very achievable to put in your team, but he's the only player that we know between 9.5 and 12.5, so this is a pretty awkward price. We have to see if any other players reach that price potential, but for now I don't see putting him in. Bernardo 6.5, a pretty good price, but he's rumored to leave, so we don't know if he is going to stay. Grealish 7.5 after a pretty good season, a pretty okay price. He's below the Arsenal boys and Manchester United boys, but he's around the 7.5, where I expect Maddison to be as well, so it will be between him and Maddison. But Grealish is a pretty good player. We still need to see Mahrez and Foden prices, but for now, pretty good price review for 7.5, and John Stones 5.5. Pretty good price. He's a very good defensive option. If he still plays in mid, he can join set pieces, he can shoot from distance, he can make those dribbles around the midfield and just shoot from outside of the box. He will be a very good player, and I expect him to be 6.0, but for 5.5, I believe this will be a very, very good price. And I consider him for my game week 1 team for sure, because I want a Man City defender in there. So yeah, pretty good price, pretty good defender, straight to the short list for game week 1. And that wraps up all of the price reviews that we're going to discuss. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see the previous price reviews, click here. I will leave their links here for day 1 and day 2. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Leave down a comment down below if you want to discuss some prices together with me, and I hope to see you on the first draft video. Bye!